All right, guys, welcome to another week of the Throwdown. For all of you, the workout is 5 sets, 2-minute AMRAP, 50 double unders, 10 dumbbell power cleans at 50-35, and then max wall balls with remaining time. You'll rest 1 minute between each set, and you'll start back over with 50 double unders, go back through for 5 total sets. Any questions on the format of that? Standards, double unders, pass under your feet twice, obviously. The dumbbell power cleans, one head must touch the ground on the outside of your feet, one head must touch your shoulders, and elbows have to be past the vertical line or in profile. Does that make sense?
Past the vertical line of your body?
Vertical line of the body. So elbows out in front of your chest or stomach, whatever you want to call that, okay? For the wall balls, it's 2014. Hip crease below the knee. Make sure it touches the target.
Training Think Tank Throwdown 15.
That's what I was doing. I was getting some stuff going so that we could start this.
Yeah,
okay?
come on, Chris,
I
get
don't
on
understand.
board.
Max, thank you for matching me today. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. This is Brandon Torman. I'm Max Elhaj. This episode is brought to you by The Design. That's our online group training program. You can find that at trainingthinktank.com, where you can get one of these beautiful matching t-shirts like us.
And get a green one for sure.
Yeah.
If you're new to this series, this is where we announce a workout and invite all of you to do it with our Training Think Tank community.
We do it ahead of time, a week in advance with our on-site group. We give you a demo, some tips, some strategy. This week's demo is Travis Mayer, 12th fittest man in the world at the 2019 CrossFit Games. Let's get into it. All right, here is Travis. First real workout back after the games.
Welcome back. He cherry-picked because he likes all these movements.
Yeah, I asked him to do this workout with a 70-pound dumbbell, a heavy jump rope, and a 30-pound wall ball. You think he still would have beat me? Yes.
I'm not going to say yes.
Yes,
he would have.
If I had executed to the best of my abilities.
It would have been close,
Yeah.
but I mean, honestly, he still would have got 30 a round at least. So.
Oh my God.
Yeah. He's so good at these movements.
Yeah. So I think the theme of watching Travis do this demo is watching somebody who is near the best in the world at all of these movements. The dumbbell power cleans. I don't know if there's a ton of separation, but some of those reps are a little close now that I'm watching from this angle.
They look better from the side because I walked around there.
Yeah, side profile is what we were looking at, and it was elbow in front of the body, so it's not elbow in front of the actual dumbbell head. But the speed of his double unders, you saw, they're all doing 50 and they're all doing 50 unbroken. He's getting off and he's doing work before people actually are even at 40 or something. And those are high level, like Coulson has been to sanctionals as an individual before. So it just shows the difference between elite and best in the world at a specific skill, and even the people right behind them. There's still gaps that you can be able to make in performance.
Yeah, when we're looking at all these movements, I like to think of okay, what are the things that we can fix in the short term, and then what are the long-term development things? So the first thing is fix the whole single, double going into your first rep. Everyone should be jumping right into their first double under. It's just more efficient, it's faster, especially when you're talking about workouts with rounds for time. The long-term development would be working on the actual movement speed. So Travis's double unders are just way faster than most people's. I was trying to time his versus everyone else's, and he was 3 or 4 seconds faster for 50.
Yeah.
So that's just insane.
Yeah, which is hand speed, jump timing, arm position, just all of that stuff.
Right.
Done repetitively until you feel like, you're faster per rep.
Yeah. So he did 45 wall balls in his first set, and you'll see that he basically maintains that throughout.
Super impressive.
The time that he gets off, that's basically, his reps are still faster than the average person on wall balls, but it helps when you're going that fast on double unders and that fast on power cleans to build in some more time to do them.
Yeah, so this rest time here, it felt like a lot of rest time in the beginning, but then that minute starts to feel like 10 seconds.
Yeah. Well, for the people that are going to do this, that are watching this right now, the first 3 sets, it looked like kind of everybody on site recovered relatively well. Going into that 4th set, when you could tell that people weren't recovered and kind of bending over in front of their ropes and still out of breath by the time that the minute rolled around.
Yeah, that's where the real gut check was. And I think you also see where inefficiencies in movement start to come out too. So if you're not good at double unders, but you can kind of get through them, when you're fatigued and your shoulders are jacked up by the 4th and 5th round, that's where you see that, it becomes super amplified if you're not efficient.
This is a great view because you can see Travis's jump height versus everyone else, and everyone has decent double unders in this one. Kyle's jumping a little too high. You can see your arm movement over there versus Travis's, but this is just the difference in being world class at something and being good, right?
Yeah, it's just such a quick ground contact time, quick hand action, quick transitions.
And again, these are probably one of the hardest dumbbell movements, I think, for both you and I. We talked about it after, but you see how he can roll his back a little bit. He's still in a strong position. That's not a bad position. And he's just a really good puller. So how fast, the cadence that he has is probably a second a rep faster than some people.
Yeah, that movement pattern just exploded my soul. I think the compression because the dumbbells had to touch on the outside and I'm so used to bringing them on the inside, that tight leg position, getting fully compressed over, and then just like the extension of your arms and bringing them back up, it blew my shoulders up, but it also blew my breathing up. It made me hold my breath almost for the entire sequence of getting those done. I
noticed it most in my shoulders, so I think that's probably what most people should expect. You think it's going to be like, low back or your hamstrings or whatever, but shoulders definitely get it from the combo of double unders into the power clean into the wall ball.
Yeah, something you see with Trav is that he's on his descent and he's absorbing the ball falling into his wall ball, which speeds up the rep per second cadence that he's able to hold. If you stand fully up, like you can see Colson standing next, where she's fully standing up and then the ball gets to her hands and then she's closing her hands and starting her squat, those little details are the details that separate like great from elite, from pretty good to good, and like all the way down the chain. So obviously, like, for me, this was definitely a capacity limited workout, but for somebody, when you get to the point where you're like, okay, it's not necessarily capacity, I can go unbroken in these intervals the whole time, then it's about, okay, how do I find those little details to go faster on every rep to get 2 or 3 extra wall balls per round, which times 5 rounds is 10 to 15 extra total reps, which is substantial on a leaderboard.
Yeah, the way that I told some of my athletes was like, how do we get you better without having to add any work capacity, right? Like make it a little bit easier. And again, like things like jumping right into your double unders, getting to the bottom of the squat as the ball goes down into your hands allows you to kind of speed those things up without really having to improve your capacity or whatever you want to call that.
Yeah, so we got 15 seconds less or rest left, and he's entering round 3. You can see like he's not super out of breath. His respiration cadence is pretty normal. You can tell he looks a little bit tired, but he did 45, 44, right? On
45 and then 44. I mean, he's still recovering just so much faster than I think most people would, but he even said afterward, he's like, man, I felt like I was getting out of breath more than I would for these movements. So it's still incredible that he was able to keep that pace.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, after a long period of time off after the games, coming back in and doing, he even said, he's like, I don't want to be the demo this week. Because you just bring a different level of intensity when you know everyone's going to watch. And to come back into your first workout back as something like at a competitive speed is definitely not the most enjoyable experience, but I think all things considered, he performed at his elite standard. Maybe some of these reps, now that I watch him from the side too, maybe some of them are a little questionable, but luckily this isn't a competition. And who was judging him? Kyle?
Kyle, yeah. Kyle's friendly.
Yeah, Kyle's too nice.
He's being too
soft. We need to put Ryan on all the demo judges.
No reps.
Yeah.
You see that Travis went right into the squat clean there. So if that's allowed in a competition, or if you're doing a throwdown and we allowed that here, that's obviously going to be faster than standing all the way up with the wall ball and then going into your first squat. So again, little things like that don't require any more capacity but allow you to get back on the rep faster makes sense.
Yeah. So based on observing the scores and just knowing the reality that most people watching this and doing these throwdowns are probably not at an elite level, even if you are able to do the unbroken double unders, unbroken power cleans, and let's say you get here with a minute left of time, managing that minute appropriately to get your maximum number of reps instead of thinking of it like, I'm going to go unbroken, and then you break down in round 3 and by round 5 you're just exploded. Figuring out like, okay, what's a realistic target? Can I do 10 unbroken, drop it, take a 2-second break, do 10 unbroken, drop it, and then do that to try to get to 30? That's an exponentially less effort expenditure than just doing 30 in a row. It makes such a big difference to just get out of tension.
Yeah, I think that the way that people should look at it is, okay, what is my goal? So let's say it is 30, then I'm going to do 3 sets of 10 with the 5-second break in between. That's going to allow me to have enough time to push that last 10 to finish in the, let's say I had a minute left or whatever it may be.
Yeah, so he looks like he's hurting a little bit more now. This is entering round 4, right?
Yep, so 2 more sets. after this round, I was trying to like just watch how he was recovering a little bit, and I mean, he's definitely hurting more, but it's crazy because you'll see in a couple seconds he gets back up, he goes and grabs his rope, and he's like, all right, ready to go.
Yeah, one of the benefits I feel, and it is true, I think, of anybody that has been a perennial games athlete, like multiple time games athlete in the old regional format and like done pretty well at big competitions, is that almost always they talk about double unders being a skill that they can recover doing, which is pretty crazy that they have the fastest cadence. Like they probably would average, 60 double unders in 30 seconds or something like that as a 120 beat per minute count. And they do that while they're recovering and not escalating their heart rate. But it is a skill that if you want to be elite, you have to just get to that point, figure out how do you move your hands fast, bound really low, and not expend so much energy doing.
Yeah, I mean, you can see, just look at the positions here. Colson, we've been working on this, but her right arm is really straight. Her jump height is much higher than Travis's. So,
pulling her knees up a tiny bit, just all those. So she's about 6 or 7 double unders behind, which then is, let's see, four power cleans in a workout where there's only 2 minutes of total work, and the movement that is counted in total reps for your score is a slow movement. Like a wall ball, even if you're crushing it, is still 2 seconds a rep or something like that. So knowing that he's just accumulating wall balls, they both did the work unbroken, and it's just movement speed that's the major differentiator. Yeah. For me, that wasn't really the case.
For most people, it won't be. But again, like we're talking to an audience of there's varying types of people. So if you're somebody that can go unbroken on this, you got to start thinking about that. If you're somebody that knows like, hey, the goal is 25 or 30 wall balls, then you're thinking, how do I game plan for that?
Yeah, I mean, just to give some context, like I opened in my first round with 30 because I was overly ambitious and thought I'd be able to go 150, which was the target. And then, I mean, that set in and of itself, I was like, oh wow, I definitely made a mistake. So I dropped down to 25, and then by the end of the workout in round 5, I missed so many double unders and had to break the dumbbell power cleans into 2 sets. I got to the wall ball with 20 seconds left. Yeah. So even if you are quasi-efficient, like I'd say I'm in the 70th percentile of most movements in CrossFit, your fitness, if it's going to be a limiter for you, you can figure out a way to manage this better. So if I did this workout again, I might do 30-20 for all my double unders, 5-5 for my power cleans, get on the wall ball, do a set of 12 or 13, and then a set of 8 to 10, and then just try to manage it that way. Whereas what we're watching right now is somebody that's trying to figure out, how do I do this 2 minutes of work and cram the most amount of work in by being fast? Yeah. That's not really what most people are going to have to do when they're actually trying to strategize the workouts. It's going to figure out like, how do I not deteriorate over the course of 5 rounds?
Right.
And then here we are,
last round.
Last round.
So Kyle was talking trash to him the whole time because Kyle went before this, just telling him he's got to beat him.
Yeah, I feel like we do need to make sure that this is a head-to-head lineup.
Yeah.
We'll have to figure out how we're going to manage the open. Kyle moved here on site full-time now. Probably use him as a demo in our next throwdown, so you can get a little bit more intimate with his capabilities.
Yeah, he looks really good doing this too.
Yeah. I would have been curious. He uses a pretty thick, heavy rope.
Yeah, he did.
I feel like might need to be something he wants to change, because I think they're just naturally slower if you're using that.
That's one of the things. We actually talked afterward, and he's like, man, I can't believe Travis was doing, a couple, he basically was beating him by like 4 reps each time with the wall balls. And I said, well, a lot of that is the speed of the double unders, which is something we already talked about. His rope just looked a little bit slower, and then he starts with singles. So he was doing a single and then going into doubles, and so he was already 2 or 3 reps behind everyone else in his heat. He would just catch up because he was so much faster at the other movements.
Yeah. Man, that ability to just flex at the spine, like just global flexion, it's definitely a big advantage if you just want to be able to move quickly through the dumbbell power clean. It's such a strange movement. I honestly think after doing this workout that movement is the hardest dumbbell movement that I'd have to do repetitively. Yep. Dumbbell power snatches, single arm dumbbell hang clean and jerks. I feel like I can stay in a better position to breathe and move.
Yeah, no, I agree. The last thing I wanted to bring up was just looking at the transitions that he has. And again, this is going to be you're gonna dictate your transition speed based on the goals that you have. But if you know you can go unbroken on this, you got to be crisp. And he made up some time by he dropped his rope and was right on the double under, or right on the
half a
dumbbells.
second of total time or something.
I mean, it's just so much faster than everyone else.
Yeah, and figuring out what that is for you. Like a fast transition for you could be 3 seconds or it could be 5 seconds, but just having discipline. The best in the world are going to have discipline to race all the transitions, but that same type of mind state mentality can be implemented at every level of development. Just having some sense of urgency to figure out how do I get the maximum amount of reps by the time I get to this, this portion of the workout. His squat speed is still really fast here. It's really impressive.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good movement, so everyone can get an idea. I mean, he's done 150 unbroken wall balls at 30 pounds, and if you think that's easy, then you can go and try it. It's not.
Yeah. So last round was how many? Do you remember?
42.
Yeah.
So he finished with 216 total reps if you accumulated all of those.
Pretty good execution.
Yeah.
12th fittest man in the world. All right, so you just saw Travis. He put up the best score of the day. However, after reviewing that video, we're not going to count his score because those reps all sucked on the power cleans. We're firing Kyle Bernier as a judge. So he put the best score up of the day, 194. Tyler was 167. Luke was 149. On the female side, 177 was Colson, 134 was Brooke, and 128 was Becky.
All right, if you're about to do Throwdown 15, we wanted to give you a couple of tips. For the first movement with double unders, if you're limited by fitness, think about a planned break, doing 25-25 or 30-20, whatever fits your schedule. If you're good at double unders, there's two things to think about. Jump right into the first double under, and then think about movement speed, and that may be a long-term development thing.
For the second movement, the dumbbell power cleans, it's a tough movement that compresses you basically all the way into hip flexion, so make sure you get that warmed up. For people that are a little bit concerned about that movement blowing them up, or you have to hold your breath doing it, you might want to think about a planned break halfway through the set. So something like 6-4 or something like 5-5 really quickly, just to limit the impact of that and allow you to transition quickly to the wall ball.
If you're doing wall balls and you are elite level that can go unbroken, think about catching the ball on the bottom of the squat in a fast transition. If you're not as good at wall balls, come up with a game plan of how you want to break those up to make sure you maximize your score.
Yeah, so remember, your score is all 5 wall ball sets, so think about being as linear as possible throughout that. Good luck on the workout. Remember, this episode's brought to you by The Design. You can check that out, trainingthinktank.com. It's for free, and you can follow along with us, do the throwdowns every Saturday.
You really just said whatever fits your schedule.
Yeah, I know. I
heard
screwed that up. I didn't know what to think. I was trying to think of what the word was there, but I slept 2 hours last night, Chris, okay? So thank you very much.
He said that, and I was like, I'm just going to roll with it.
Whatever fits your schedule.
I think 5s fits my schedule.
It still makes sense, does it not? You want to redo it?
It's a wrap, you know what I'm saying? Your boy Project Pata in this thing, man. Hey, look, man, thank y'all for watching Training Think Tank's YouTube channel. Y'all hit that motherfucking subscribe button, you know what I'm saying? So y'all go ahead, man. Thank y'all for watching the channel, you know what I'm saying? Hit that motherfucking subscribe button. Let it be known, what it be known, what it be known, you know what I'm saying? Pata.